The best places to visit in Rhode Island, USA. Welcome to Rhode Island. Rhode Island may be the smallest state in the United States, but it packs a wallop when it comes to history and scenic beauty. Rhode Island's nickname is the Ocean State, which is apt since it has tens of miles of shoreline on the Atlantic Ocean, filled with stunning beauty. The state's top destination, Newport, is well known for its over-the-top mansions for the rich who summered here. But Providence, too, is filled with the history of an earlier period, when its merchants grew rich on the slave trade and other lucrative commerce. Add miles of beautiful beaches. Rhode Island has an extensive shoreline, a rich industrial history, and an idyllic island, and you'll see why Rhode Island should be on any New England itinerary. If you want a relaxing vacation, then consider Rhode Island. The Ocean State may be small, but it has just as much to offer visitors as any other part of the United States. Number 10. Block Island. Miles offshore, Block Island is reached by ferry from Point Judith, Galilee, on the south coast. From laid-back Little New Harbor, where you'll find lodging and dining, you can bicycle or walk to several beaches or to the Victorian Southeast Lighthouse. Mohegan Bluffs are a 3-mile stretch of coastal cliffs with a 200-foot drop to the ocean. At the foot of these is a beautiful beach, although the prospect of climbing back up the 151 steps might discourage you. Miles of trails crisscross the island and are popular with birders who come to spot the more than 150 species stopping here in the fall. A weekend on this island with its faraway feeling is one of the most romantic things to do in Rhode Island. Number 9. Narragansett Bay Beaches. If long stretches of fine white sand beckon you, head for the towns of Narragansett and South Kingstown, south of Providence, to find a string of public beaches on the protected waters of Narragansett Bay. Watch Hill is a delightful old-fashioned resort town with an excellent beach, a lighthouse, and a historic carousel. Narragansett Town Beach is a classic, New England saltwater coastal beachfront that offers some of the best, cleanest and accessible beach conditions for the residents and tourists in New England. There are more than 30 islands in the bay. The 3 largest ones are Aquidneck Island, Conanicut Island, and Prudence Island. Number 8. Herreshoff-marine-museum-bristol. Sailing, and most particularly the America's Cup race, is deeply ingrained into Newport culture and history. To gain a sense of this, and to see models and actual restored boats, including one that's considered the most beautiful hull form ever created, visit the museum commemorating the Herreshoffs and their boat designs. Their most legendary feat was designing and building 8 consecutive successful defenders of the America's Cup, from 1893 to 1934. The America's Cup Hall of Fame is part of the museum, which features more than 60 sailing and power yachts along with displays and videos on boat building and sailing. Number 7. The Marble House. We should all be so fortunate to have a husband who gives us a $11 million cottage on our 30th birthday. Yet that's what Kenneth Vanderbilt, grandson of Commodore Cornelius Vanderbilt, did. The mansion was modeled after the Petit Trianon at Versailles. Built between 1888 and 1892, the structure used 500,000 cubic feet of marble at a cost of $7 million. The Marble House set the stage for Newport to transform from a quiet village into a playground filled with grandiose summer homes for the wealthy. The mansion soon became a landmark in Newport society. Six. Colt State Park. You'll see some stunning, beautiful views from Colt State Park, which is considered the gem of the state park system. The park fronts on Narragansett Bay, so definitely take a drive along the shoreline. Or, you can bike along the shoreline or through the park on 4 miles of bike trails where you'll see carefully tended fruit trees and flowering shrubs. The park is near Bristol, home to a spectacular 4th of July fireworks display since 1785. Take a moment to reflect on life at the open-air chapel by the sea. The park is named after industrialist Samuel P. Colton, was originally the location of his summer home. 5. Cliff-walk-Newport. Despite past efforts of mansion owners on the preferred ocean side of Bellevue Avenue to close off access, Newport's Cliff Walk has remained a public walking path since the days when the great palaces were at their prime. The pathway along the rocky shore provides walkers with views of breakers crashing on the rocks below, as well as the mansion's gardens and sea-facing facades above, and is one of the most popular and free things to do in Newport. The Cliff Walk begins well before the Breakers, the first major mansion it skirts, and after 3.5 miles, it passes by Rough Point, at the end of Bellevue Avenue. The exotic tea house at Marble House stands just above the path. Old Harbor. Old Harbor, located on the east side of Block Island, is just a scenic ferry ride away from mainland Rhode Island. The picturesque harbour, with its Victorian waterfront, is filled with yachts and boats, which isn't surprising as Old Harbour is one of New England's premier boating destinations. It's a safe harbour, protected by a breakwater. Once shoreside, you'll find seafood restaurants, shops and quaint inns to stay in while you explore this historic district of Block Island's resort community of New Shoreham. New Shoreham is considered one of the prettiest cities in New England. Number 3. The Elms. The Elms is another one of those over-the-top summer homes in Newport, this one built by the Berwyn family in 1898. The Elms, however, possibly wasn't as opulent as the others, since it only cost $1.4 million to build. While the interiors were still lavish, the focal point here is the classical revival gardens with marble and bronze sculptures on terraces, marble pavilions, a sunken garden and fountains. It took 7 years to create the gardens. The construction started in 1907, 6 years after the mansion was finished. Number 2. Providence. Providence is both the capital and the largest city in the state of Rhode Island. Nicknamed the Creative Capital and the Divine City, Providence was founded in 1636, making it one of the oldest cities in the nation. Roger Williams, an exile from the Massachusetts Bay Colony, founded the city in the name of the sanctuary he found, a gift from God's merciful providence. The city is home to Brown University, the Roger Williams Zoo, the Rhode Island School of Design's Museum of Art. Providence also is home to the Big Blue Bug, a roadside attraction that is the world's largest termite. And number 1. The Breakers, Newport's most celebrated and showiest Gilded Age mansion. The Breakers, one of the most visited house museums in the United States, was built by Cornelius Vanderbilt in 1895 and reflects the unimaginable wealth of the Vanderbilt family. The Italian Renaissance summer cottage has 70 rooms, including a grand 3-story dining room, and was built using imported French and Italian marble and alabaster. Ceiling paintings, mosaics, marble columns, fine wood paneling, and carved stucco decorate its rooms lavishly and ostentatiously, as was intended by the Vanderbilts, who never risked being outdone by their wealthy competitors. Because a previous mansion, owned by Pierre Lorillard IV, on the site burned, Vanderbilt insisted his mansion be fireproofed, so steel trusses were used for structural support. It is the grandest house in Newport. Thank you for watching my video. Please like, comment and subscribe.